Okay, folks, we've had our fun. Now let's see if there's any profit. Well, let's count our profit. Put it that way. Did we make any money, Charlie? We did, didn't we?
We most certainly did.
Okay. Well, let's go over what we made, how we made it, how we analyzed it, and give a little bit of education on how that's done and how people would analyze a deal, what it would cost them, and actually go through the numbers on this and the actual numbers so they get a feel for it. Does that make sense?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, folks. Here we are with the actual numbers. What we're going to teach you in this little section is how to evaluate the deal. The most important part of probably the entire purchase, the entire process, is evaluating the houses that you find or someone brings to you. And there's a lot of costs that people forget about, literally forget about. They don't add in. And Charlie's going to go over a couple of those costs right now. They're invisible costs. They're not really. You just forget about them when you're doing your math. So let's go through these and see how we analyze this deal here.
All right, keep in mind, everyone, that the profit is made when you buy the deal. Okay? This home was presented to us for $105,000. You've got buying closing costs, you've got your selling closing costs, and you also have holding costs plus renovation costs. So first you got to add all those costs up, figure out what your total investment is going to be, and then what your sale price is to see if there's any spread in the middle for you. That's your profit. And on this deal, we projected a profit of $28,000.
Now, on a sale of that magnitude, is that about the right? Is that what people should be shooting for, Charlie?
Well, we were projecting an estimated sale price of $159,900. In a $150,000 price range, you want to make between $15,000 and $30,000. That's a good target to shoot for. $15,000 on the low end, $30,000 on the high end.
Those are important numbers, folks. Most people go into these transactions thinking they can make $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000, and if they break even or lose money, they're never going to be in the business again. You have to make a fair return on your money, and that 15 to 30 is a minimum. The 15 is a minimum.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum. I think 20 to 30 when you get to that $150,000 price range, and it goes up from there. And when we're looking at this whole thing, Charlie, there's a couple of things that I think people forget about. Holding costs. What are holding costs, Charlie? What do they entail?
Holding costs is the interest that you pay every month on the money borrowed. If it takes you 3 months to renovate this home and 3 months to sell it, you have 6 months of holding costs. They're interest payments you're making every month. 6 monthly payments till the deal closes.
And taxes too, right?
Yep, taxes and insurance, yeah.
Right. And what are buying closing? And this one, it seems high, buying closing costs. What's with that?
Well, this particular property was in foreclosure, so for us to buy it at the $105,000 range, we had to pay the seller's closing costs, and they came out to be, with the selling and the buyer's closing costs, was $2,390 on this particular deal. That's double what you'd usually pay, but we factored that in.
Right. Yeah, it did seem high. Usually when you buy a property, you're only paying, if you're paying cash or you have an equity lender, excluding the costs of your loan, the costs are not that high, but we had that foreclosure where we had to pay for the seller's costs as well. Now, these selling closing costs, is that a real estate commission? That's awful. I mean, do you always figure in a real estate commission?
Yes, you always figure in at least a 3% real estate commission because we're not experts. Let the experts sell the house for you.
It is possible that we could have done it without a real estate commission and that would have been extra, correct?
Yeah, that would have been more profit to the bottom line, but you know, it's better to overestimate than underestimate.
Now, any other costs you can think of that might come up during this process?
The renovation costs.
Well, I mean, in the buying, when they're analyzing the deal, because I think people get stuck a little bit on analyzing the deal. They get paralysis in analyzing the deal when they're going to buy it. And we're going to go on to the estimating the fix-up costs on top of this. But when someone's looking at a deal, where do they get their comparable sales, all that kind of stuff?
They do what's called a CMA report, and you can get that from any realtor. That'll give you a list. The realtor will give you a list of any of the homes that have sold in that neighborhood in the last 6 months. So you want to drive by the homes that are most closely resemble your house. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, block home, whatever, 2-car garage. You want to make sure you're looking to apples. And there you're going to determine what your selling price will be. And from there, you subtract all your other costs and see if there's a spread in the middle.
Okay. So most realtors can help you out with that. And you really should know your neighborhood that well too anyway, huh?
Yeah. That's a good start.
That's a good start. Yeah, you should really get an area that you know well, and don't be going off into areas that you don't know well. Know your costs. Take a look at 100 houses, 150 houses before you buy any. Go to open houses. Do that kind of thing. Get your numbers so that you know what you're doing And you're looking for the top-end retail because this house is going to be totally fixed up. Now, some of the houses that have sold will not be totally fixed up, so you want to think of that top-end rehab or rehabbed price because that's going to be a financed price for you. Somebody's going to be able to come in with very little down on a house that's this well fixed up. Okay, let's take a look at the estimated repairs on Bird Road here, the actual estimates that we have on this property. Right there at the top you can see paint. To paint this house inside and out after everything's done, $1,800. Now, Charlie, how did you break that down for the folks exactly where that all came from?
Well, in our marketplace, I can get a house painted down here for about $1 a square foot, and that includes paint inside and out. And the house was, what, 1,900 square feet, so I estimated it to be $1,800. It's that simple.
Gotcha. Okay. And you've got to beware of hot dog big painters. You've got to get people. You've got to work on looking for your subcontractors and get how many? What do you think about bids? How many bids should they get? 3
bids by reputable contractors. That's a key. And you never.
What was that word? Reputable.
Reputable. You never want to pay money up front.
Okay. There's a little tip from someone who knows. Never pay money up front. What was that you were telling about performance agreements too?
Yep, and you want to put a performance agreement in there. If they're going to bid on painting this house, how long is it going to take them? If they say 2 weeks, give them 2.5. Give them 3 weeks. But after 3 weeks, you start deducting $100 a day off the price if they're not completed the job.
Is it just my imagination, Charlie, or are painters always famous for this take a little money, never show up action? So you be careful, folks.
I don't think it's just painters. I think it's every trade out there.
Okay. Okay, the kitchen. You can. We've seen the kitchen. You did that kitchen for $2,800. Wait, I think it's less, but you estimated $2,800 on that kitchen. Most people would think that kitchen costs $10,000 or $15,000. Break it down again. How did you do it?
Well, Mike, every marketplace out there in the United States has a Home Depot. What I like to do is I measure the kitchen out. I go to Home Depot and I look at the Mills Pride cabinets that you assemble in the natural maple finish. And they're all standard sizes. You just price it out, and that's how I determine my cost. And you got to throw some countertops in there too. I use $14 a linear foot. In your marketplace, it could be different.
Now remember, there are benchmarks that you can use in walking through the house. You can literally use these as benchmarks because when you've seen the end result. So you can go through, if a house needs a kitchen, which most of them should have, and a bathroom, you can use these numbers. It's going to be a little lower, a little higher, but use these as benchmarks. Okay, bathroom number one, $1,250. Break it down quickly. That's I think you did, but do it again.
That's the tear out, the re-drywall, the plumbing, the retiling, the fixtures, everything. That's the whole ball of wax. It's a completed bathroom. Turn the doorknob and it's ready for use.
Okay. So again, you want to put money into the things that sell houses, and the things that sell houses are kitchens and baths, and you want to have them nice, shiny, and new. All right, bedroom 3 and the bathroom, $3,500. That's because we had to rebuild an entire bedroom too, plus add a master bath, right?
Yes, and that was gutting that whole garage area, re-drywalling it, building the closet, the master bathroom, the shower. That was pretty extensive.
Okay. Well, still $3,500 is a good price. I mean, it's an aggressive estimate. We'll see how we did when we get to that part.